All right, this is the Unit 16 double quiz review. On the first problems, they just want you to convert to the other form. So if it starts off with a log, it has to have an exponent. So your base is your base, and your other switch place. Same thing here. Your base is your base, and the other switch place. Now here's your base now. If you start off with an exponent, you have to have a log. So log base 5 of 20 equals x minus 8. Alright, same thing here, you got to have a log, so log base, it's a natural log, it's the opposite, because the base is the e, of 20 equals x. Alright, to expand here, I notice that I have multiplying, so I need to have adding when I write it all out. Now this first one has a 2, so if it has an exponent, it has to go in front of the log. So there's your first one. Alright, the second one, I notice there's division, so there has to be subtraction. So I'm going to have log base 2 of x minus log base 2 of y. Alright, on the next one, I'm now just condensing them. So I just write the word log once, and then x, y squared. Again, that number in front of the log is your exponent. Alright, on this next one, I notice subtraction, so I know I'm going to have some division. So I'm going to have the natural log of x divided by y cubed. Okay, on these next ones, I'm actually just solving. The main thing I want to look for on this one is I want to make sure that when I substitute these numbers in, they're always positive. So if I do this negative 7 squared is 49, plus 12 is 61. Well, that's positive, so that's good. So let me check the other one. And this is negative 9 times negative 7 is 63, minus 2 is 61. Well, that's good too. They're both positive. Alright, so far this is the best answer. Now I'm going to substitute this one in. 3 squared is 9, plus 12 is 21. Well, that works. That's positive. And then negative 9 times 3 is negative 27. Minus 2 is negative 29. Well, that's a negative. Can't have a negative. So this would be my solution, and this would be considered my extraneous solution. All right, on the next one, I notice I am adding. So that actually tells me that I am multiplying. So that's what my equation looks like. Now, I notice I can do the base is the base in the other switch place. So my base here is 10. So the base is the base in the other switch place. Well, if I divide by 8, 10 squared is 100, and 100 divided by 8 is 12.5. Alright, okay, I'm going to solve the following problems. So pretty much, y'all, if you start off with an exponent, you have to have a log when you solve it. You just have to, okay? So, for instance, on this one, I'm going to add 3. That gives me 5 to the power of 3x equals 25. Well, that gives me log base 5 of 25 equals 3x. Well, I know that 5 to the power of 2 gives me 25. So this would be 2 equals 3x. And then I'm going to divide by 3, and x is 2/3. Okay, on the next one, I want to get rid of that 1/4. So, I'm sorry, let me skip this one. Alright, so this one's ready to go. The base and the exponent are already by themselves. So here I'm going to do the base is the base, and the other switch place. Well, 4 to what power will give me 1? 0. So 4 to the power of 0 will give me that 1. So that gives me 2x plus 3. And then minus 3 minus 3. So negative 3 equals 2x. Divided by 2, and x equals negative 3 over 2. So if they can come up with a good answer, you've got to get it down to that answer. Alright, so on this one I need to get rid of the 1/4, so I'm going to multiply by 4. And whatever I do on one side, I have to do on the other. So that gives me 2 to the power of x equals 16. Again, the base is the base and the other switch place. Well, 2 to what power will give me 16? 2 times 2 is 4. Times another 2 is 8, times another 2 is 16. So x will equal 4. Alright, on the next one, I'm going to add 6 and add 6. So I have 10 to the power of x plus 4 equals 100. Well, that seems like a nice number. So now I'm going to have log base 10. Again, you don't have to put the 10 of 100 equals x plus 4. Well, 10 to the power of 2 gives me 100. So this whole thing here is 2. So 2 equals x plus 4, minus 4, x equals negative 2. Alright, on the next one, again, I'm trying to get that base and that exponent by itself, so I'm going to subtract 3. So 8 to the power of n plus 10 equals 64. Again, the base is the base, and the other switch place. Well, 8 to the power of 2 will give me 64, so this whole thing here is 2. So 2 equals n plus 8, or n plus 10, minus 10, minus 10, n equals negative 8. All those are becoming out really nice. That's easy. Alright, so divide by 81. Divide by 81. You gotta get that base and that exponent by itself. And that gives me 27 over 81. Alright, now the base is the base and the other switch place. Okay, so I gotta think, 9 to what power would give me 27? On that one there, I'm actually gonna kind of use my calculator. So I'm gonna have the 9 and the 81. I want you to see this. And see how it came up. Oh, sorry, I did the wrong one. Alright, so log base 9 of 27. Alright, that gives you 1.5, okay? But then, the problem here is this 81. Now, let me show you what happens when I actually type in the whole thing. So here, if I have log base 9 of 27 divided by 81, that gives you negative 1/2. Okay, so here I'm going to have negative 1/2 equals negative 2x minus 2. Then I'm going to add 2. That gives me 1.5 equals negative 2x divided by negative 2 divided by negative 2. And 1.5 divided by negative 2 gives you negative 3/4. Alright, on the other side. Okay, so on these here, again, I'm just trying to get the log and the base of by itself. Alright, so here I'm going to multiply by 2, multiply by 2. That gives me log base 2 of x minus, oops, let me sneak that in there, equals 6. 2 to the power of 6 equals x minus 5. 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64. So that gives me 64 equals x minus 5. Add 5. So x equals 69. Alright, on the next one. Again here, I'm going to need to divide by 3 because you can't have anything in front of the log. And I'm going to kind of rewrite that so it looks a little bit better. So now what I have is 2 to the power of 3 equals x, so x equals 8. Alright, on the next one again, I want to get rid of that. So I have log base 5 of x equals 3. And I'm going to have the base is the base and the other switch place. And I think I just accidentally wrote the wrong numbers. Oh, I was going to do an x. Alright, and then x equals 125. Alright, on the next one. I don't see anything in front of the log, and I don't see anything being added after the radical. So to me, it looks like I can do the base is the base in the other switch place. So I want to get rid of that squared. Well, first of all, this is 8. So in order to get rid of the square root, I have to square it. So that gives me 64 equals x minus 1, and then plus 1 and plus 1. So x would equal 65. Alright, on this one it says solve for x in terms of e. So what that pretty much is you don't want to really get down to an exact answer. So now I have ln x plus 2 equals 5. And again, the base is the base and the other switch place. And then I'm going to subtract 2 from both sides. And again, if I want to keep it in terms of e, I want to make this my most exact answer. Because if I type that in, I am going to get a decimal, but that would be my most exact answer. Alright, on this one here, I don't have anything in front of the log, and I don't really have anything after the parentheses here. So the base is the base, and then the other switch place. Now, I want to make that a positive. So in order to make it positive, I have to flip it. And then at this point, I'm pretty much just going to do the cube root of each of those. So cube root and cube root. And so that gives me 5 over 4. Okay, for this one, what is the x-intercept? Now remember, the x-intercept is when y equals 0. Well, this is my y. So I have 0 equals log x minus 3 minus 1. Well, let me add 1 to the other side because I got to get that log by itself. So now I have log x minus 3 equals 1. Okay, well, here the base stays the base and the other switch place. So I'm going to add 3 to both sides. So now I have x equals 13. So the x-intercept is located at 13, 0. Okay, on the word problems down here, it says a calculator may be used. Do not round any number until the final answer. If you do that, your answer is going to be more off. The population growth of zombies can be modeled by this equation, where P sub naught is the population at time 0 and P is the population at time t in years. If there are currently 275 zombies in Conroe, how long will it take for the zombie population to double? Okay, well, if I double that number, that gives me 550. So 550 would be that future amount. My current amount is 275. And then to the power of e and then 0.008t. Now remember, e is not a variable, it's a value. So again, I want to get the base and the exponent by itself. I'm going to divide. And that gives me 2 equals e to the power of 0.008t. And again, the base is the base and the other switch place. Okay, so I'm going to divide that by 0.008. Alright, and then my final answer is going to be the natural log of 2 divided by 0.008. And so in about 86.64 years, the zombie population will double. Luckily, it's not growing quickly. Alright, so for my equation, I could have 275e to the power of 0.008t equals 550. Alright, on the next one. Jessica just opened a savings account and invested $2,500 that she earned over the summer babysitting. The account earns 6.5% interest annually and is compounded quarterly. How long will it take for her to save $6,000? Okay, well, the $6,000 is that future amount. That's what we want it to equal. Then it started off with $2,500. Now, the percent of growth was 6.5. So if I write that as a decimal, it'd be 0.065. But then you have to divide that by 4 because it's quarterly. So I probably should make that parenthesis a little bit bigger. All right, and then, I know it's quarterly, and then I'm trying to figure out the time. All right, so the first thing I want to do is I want to divide by that 2,500. So if I do 6,000 divided by 2,500, that gives me 2.4. So 2.4 equals, now I'm going to figure out what that whole percent is. Or that whole parentheses there. Okay, that gives me 1.01625 to the power of 4t. And again, this is where I'd want to do the base is the base. And again, do not round. The base is the base. And then the other switch place. Okay? And now I want to divide by 4. Alright, so type that whole thing in. I'm going to type in log 1.01625 and then the 2.4. Okay, that's what I get. And then divide by 4. So about 13.58 years. And again, this would be your formula right here. Alright, last one. art tends to become more valuable after an artist dies. From the time a particular artist dies, their art started appreciating by 8% every year. If a painting sold for $10,000 at the time of her death, how long would it take for it to triple? Okay, well the triple is going to be that future amount. Started off at 10,000. It's appreciating, so it's growth. Alright, and then I'm going to start solving it. Got to get that base and that exponent by itself. So that gives me 3 equals 1.08 to the power of x. And again, the base stays the base, and the others switch place. And this would be your, that would be your equation. Alright, so here, I'm going to have log base 1.08, and then 3. So it'll be approximately 14.27 years. Alright, hope that helped you out. Let your teachers know if you need any help.